today's content is speaking skill, fluency, pronunciation, and interactive communication. So these are the things we will be focusing. So uh, definitely all these things will be focused from the teacher's perspective. So how one particular teacher will follow on that. And another thing is that we will be focusing on English language speaking skill on in here. So this is not about in general speaking skills. So we are focusing on English speaking here, and definitely we'll be talking about how to raise the fluency and how to teach pronunciation and how to make your students engaging and for an interactive communication. All these things will be discussed today from the perspective of a teacher. So let's start with this one. We can start with this one with the contents. So as I said earlier, that I have planned a lot of the things to show you as a teacher. I personally feel that I need some more time to give you proper attention and on this particular topic. But these are the things. But I should assure you, they are very basic things. They are very general things. There is no rocket science in there, and all of the things. I believe as a student, you have already gone through some of the processes as well. So today, what I will be doing, I will be, trying to uh, trying to bring back your memories, so you will be able to recollect your memories about your classes when you were in the classroom and trying to develop your speaking skill. So what about the things your teacher had done during your school, college, or university level? So some of the things you might have, you might recall and get some information from there. So definitely I believe that will be no problem. And before starting that, I want you to, take your pen and paper and take notes whenever and wherever it is necessary. Okay, so take notes and put your questions there if there are any questions. So put your questions there, take notes, and try to understand and communicate with me through your note taking. And definitely, if you have any queries, don't hesitate to click on the hand raise button, and then whenever I will be, you know I'll be stopped for some transformation in the slides. Then I will be giving you some time to ask your queries. Write down your questions, take notes, all of the things which will help you to understand the content. Okay, so our objective is to understand the mechanism of speaking in English. So we know how to speak. Most of us, I can see some brilliant students at the where whose skills are, very up to the mark. Okay, so as a learner, you got full marks in there. So now it's your turn to make your learners uh, teach English. So as a teacher, and I'm going to be a teacher trainer. So what are the things you need to focus in there? So you need to understand the mechanism of speaking in English as you can teach your learners English in your classrooms. And identify the norms of teaching pronunciation. So there are some guidelines for the pronunciation. So though I believe that that should be in a very minimal portion, and for the teachers who want to teach pronunciation for their learners. And then we will also explore engaging classroom speaking activities. What are the activities we can follow, we can introduce? Those things can be highlighted as well. So let's start with the first one. That's elements of speaking. What is the element of speaking? So some key skills for speaking fluently: you need to have the pronunciation of phonemes. I believe you have some idea about phone and phonemes. Phone is the minimal sound of phonetics, and phoneme is the minimal unit of phonology. So whenever we are referring to phonology, we want to focus on the uh, very minimal portion, very minimal unit of a phonology. You know that there could be English phonology, there could be French phonology. So under phonology, you are segmenting and narrow down the sounds, and after putting it in a minimal version, minimal point, you will find the phonemes in there. So that means one particular sound which has a meaning in one particular language, that is phoneme. And use of appropriate stress and intonation. You know about the stress and intonation. Stress is whenever we are longing. So as you have already heard that I have actually stressed my sound when I said long. So I put a stress on the sound long. So that's the stress. And whenever sometimes you will find that I am talking in a tempo, and my sounds are rising, and sometimes you will find my sounds are very low in there. So as you can understand now, I am putting my sound in sometimes in a high tone and sometimes in a low tone. So that's the intonation we are talking about, and intonation is useful for the speakers whenever you are trying to asking questions, taking turns, and other things. So definitely you need to have a proper idea about this one. And speaking in connected speech. So definitely, whenever you are talking to these things, you have to have connections towards your speech. So definitely you need to talk about the one particular portions, and the portions need to be connected each other. And there are functional requirements as well. Speak across different genres and situations. You need, for example, this is a classroom situation. You might go to your job place. You might go to your institutions, and definitely you need to start speaking and talking to other things. You may go to super shops, or maybe you may go to any other regions, and you might talk to flight attendants, or maybe the bus conductor and other things. So there are different conversation, different types of speaking, different situations of speaking, and there are different contexts as well. So you need to speak across different ones. So it's not only about speaking in the classroom with the teachers or with the classmates or with the friends, but also taking your language skill outside the classroom and speak a lot of the things in a lot of the situations. And use conversational repair strategies. Sometimes you need to conversate, and you need to repair the strategies. For example, one of the repair strategies I can tell you about, uh, uh, like as I want to do something, like I want to do something, it doesn't give you clear meanings. Then I repeated the information. I said that I wanted to say the forum of writing answers in the forum. So then you can understand that in the first phrase, some things are missing and ambiguous. And in the next phrase, I have tried to repair my phrases in order to, you know, continue the conversation. And that's what is repair strategy in the conversation. And manage typical functional exchanges. So functional exchanges, that means whenever as a speaker, we are trying to exchange different functional words as in our conversation. So that's functional requirements. And types of speaking events. So if we're talking about what the speaking situations we could uh, you know interact, what are the situations, speaking situations we can find in our daily life. So what are the things? Scott Thornberry's framework. According to that framework, you have purposes, you have participation, and you have planning. So whenever you are talking about purposes, you have transactional and interpersonal. Transactional means access information for information or goods. Interpersonal, to build and sustain relationships. For example, you want to visit one particular place, and you do not know the direction in there. So in the meantime, you have found one particular police officer, or maybe some passerby, or some stranger, and you wanted to know the information from him or her. So that's the time you exchange information, and you need very direct and concrete information. That's what is transactional. And interpersonal, whenever you try to build relationship, maybe in a classroom, you are talking with classmates and friends in the very first time, and you try to do in a very the objective of your conversation is to build a relationship in there. So there is no any important information, but the information will help you to develop relationship among yourself. So that's the purpose. And the participation, sometimes you are interactive, sometimes you are non-interactive. You just have one particular conversation. You can see that sometimes the people talk to one person without having the response from other person. So that is non-interactive in there. So participations could be like this one. And then the planning, that should be the planned way. Lectures, wedding speeches, these are planned way. Sometimes not, sometimes not. For example, today, this particular class, I have planned the idea, that's it, but I did not, write those. I wrote those ideas in there. But sometimes, in a wedding ceremony, you might have written your speeches to wish the bride and bridegroom. So it is possible in there, or maybe whenever uh, you are. You are leaving your workplace and going to join another place, and in the farewell ceremony you have prepared your speeches, what you're going to say. And or you can also see that in different award functions, celebrities make speeches, so those are very planned one. And the unplanned spontaneous street conversations, you have, as I said earlier, you are going to a place and you do not know the direction, so you are asking someone. So those the conversations we are talking about, spontaneous, natural and unplanned conversations. So these are the speaking events. These are the situations where we can incorporate or introduce our speaking capacity in there. So why do we speak? So based on the theories, we can say that asking for assistance and advice in a shop, asking for directions, making an appointment by telephone, discussing and negotiate arrangements, talking socially to a variety of people, sorting out arrangements for a car to be serviced, or maybe motorcycle or other things. This information, you can see that this information are taken from McDonough, Shaw and Mashura. That's the reference I have used, McDonough et al. 2013. That's a book. But you might be surprised that why I am saying that. Why do we need to have a conversation, and when should we have a speaking discourse? But the thing is that it is not for you, not for knowing towards you. I mean, that's not my objective, to inform you what are the things, why we need to speak. Rather than these situations, I want you to uh, inhale this information, and I want you to make activities, make materials for you learners, which should look very natural for you learners. For example, if you design an activity or a task for you learners based on asking for assistance or advice in a shop, that should look like very realistic, because these are the speaking situations we encounter in our daily life. So definitely I want you to do that. That's why I have introduced this one. So you can also see the bold marks in here: expressing ideas, expressing a wish or desire, negotiations, solving a particular problem, maintaining social relationships and friendships. So all the things we do need to speak in different settings and conversation. So what are the features of speech? Uh, I think you should know about this one, that is speaking. And speaking is very different than writing. Whenever you are writing, you are actually showing your capacity to the audience, to the readers. So, and the readers have those kinds of words in there, so they can read and understand from their points of view. But during speech, it is possible that there are a lot of the things you will not find in the speech. You need to assume, you need to have schema, you need to have the pragmatics, you need to have the intention of the learners in order to retrieve meaning from the speaker. So those are the things in there. So what are the things of features of speech? Ellipsis. There will be lots of blanks in there, incomplete utterances. A lot of the things you will find that those are banished, as which you might find in your writing, but in speaking you might not find that. Use of conjunction to add information and achieve continuity. Very little subordination, that means little of subordinate clauses. Very few passive voice. We do not use lots of passive voices during a speech. Not many explicit logical connectors. Moreover, however, you know that these things are very much important for your writing. Those who have set for IELTS exam and have done a great job, they will find that they needed to add moreover and however in order to get a good score in writing. So and the next one is use of topic head and or a tail, that is that restaurant. So look at the sentence in here. That restaurant, just a second. Yes, that restaurant, yeah, the food was great, and food was great that restaurant. So, yeah, that restaurant, yeah, the food was great that restaurant. So, the things, the topic, and then the information, head and tail is there. The syntax of the written languages would probably have a subject verb predictive structure. So, if you look about a sentence structure, you know that subject, verb, and object are there. But if we talk about speech, spoken or utterance, you might not find those things in there. And replacing or refining expressions, this fellow, this chap. So I sometimes we rephrase this one with another word, sometimes we repeat this one and refine our expression, so it is possible. We repeat the things, the use of vague language, thing, nice, seems yes, we use this a lot, because sometimes we feel that we do not have the particular word in there, so we might replace that with thing or nice stuff or what's it in there. And repetition is very common. You can find that during my speech I have done that. And what is the most common part of a spoken discourse is that fillers. So we use so like this one, these things, so we use a lot during speaking, especially when we use target language, that means English language. But definitely I should tell you that we have uh, gap fillers in Bangla languages as well. Okay, so what should be the conversation strategy for the learners? So one thing you should consider about the turn taking and the discourse markers, and successful face-to-face interaction dependent knowledge and successful execution of turn taking. Turn taking, you need to understand this one, turn taking, because due to turn taking, it is possible that there will be more overlapping, and whenever there is more overlapping, that means that will hamper your conversation, hamper the natural flow of a conversation. So conversation rules and structures by Donny and Thorell. So openings, interrupting, and closing. So these are the primary things in there. And survival repair strategies, we talked about that. And then real talk insights encourage spontaneous classroom conversations, use of authentic questioning, and multifunctional expressions. Before going to the next section, uh, it seems like that I'm the only one who is talking a lot, and maybe you are listening, maybe you are not listening, maybe you do not have proper attention in there. So till now, if you want to ask any question about the slides you have gone through, this is the item. যদি আপনাদের কোনো কোশ্চেন থাকে এখন পর্যন্ত আমরা যা যা করেছি সেটা নিয়ে, তাহলে আপনারা বলতে পারেন। এতক্ষণ আমরা যা দেখেছিলাম সেটা হচ্ছে আমরা একটু মেকানিজমটা বুঝতে চেষ্টা করেছিলাম স্পিকিং এর। এখন আমরা যেটা দেখতে যাচ্ছি যে কিভাবে আমরা স্পিকিং গুলো নিয়ে কাজ করতে চাই অ্যাজ এ টিচার হিসেবে, সেই ফর্মটা কিন্তু অলরেডি আমাদের শুরু হয়ে গেছে। কারো কোশ্চেন?
Not
কোশ্চেন? ওকে, ওকে,
Actually, till now, I don't have any question regarding the topics.
ওকে,
I think it's very easier for us to understand the topic matter.
গ্রেট। থ্যাংক ইউ লিজা, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। সো
You're most welcome, sir.
yes, but what I really want from you, I want you to connect this information to your real life. As a student, you have gone through some of the experiences. So I want you to recollect those memories, and I want you to add this information as a feather, as the feathers of your of your those memories as students. And you know that you have gone through a lot of challenges, so definitely you don't want your students to face those challenges. So definitely the challenges you face, you need to overcome from there, and you need to introduce a better version of learning and understanding whenever you are going to be a teacher to teach the same students who are facing challenges on those issues. So please try to connect them with your knowledge. Okay, now let's go to the next one. That is teaching pronunciation. So in order to teach pronunciation, you need to identify some of the key aspects of pronunciation. But there are certain ways of teaching pronunciation, and one is top down, and another is bottom up. So top down means just go with the pronunciation, um, just go with the pronunciation. You have your pronunciation, and you want your learners to imitate the pronunciation and try to learn the things. And bottom up, the way you need to bottom up, if you want to follow the strategy of bottom up for teaching pronunciations, then you need to understand the sound first. Then you need to produce the sounds as the way it should be produced. And then you need to connect the sounds into sound units. And that's how you need to develop your English pronunciation. That is one of the ways. And under key aspects of pronunciation, there are common advices on how to increase intelligibility, and those are in there. Okay. So what are the aspects? Useful course for dictionary work. So কিছু কিছু dictionary work আপনারা follow করতে পারেন, like as individual sounds. You need to, what I do sometimes, whenever I see a new word, I go to the dictionary and try to click on the sound button, and they give me the right sound, the native sound. So that's how you can have practice to you learners. Minimal periods, like as pit sorry pin bin. Okay, pin bin, that means pa sound, e sound, and na sound. That's pin. And then bin, ba sound, e sound, and na sound, bin sound. But only one single phoneme is changed in those units of sounds, and that is pa with the ba. And that's how these minimal pairs work together. So you need to go this similar sounded sounds to have practice to your learners. And then the ear training, you need to make your learners understand that the sounds are different. And that's how you can train your learners whenever you are giving the similar sounds. I can show you one. Just give me a second. I'll show you that, but after this slide. And then word stress, which exhibits a number of key patterns in English. So word stress are there. I already talked about the stress as well. Sentence stress and rhythm. So word stress, sentence stress, and rhythm. So all these things are the part of pronunciation. And then the intonation as well, and sound and spelling. So sometimes the spelling is very much related to your sound. So definitely you need to do that. Okay, now let's back to the one, and let's focus on the types of activity to remote speaking skills. So these are the activities you can introduce. Communication games, different communications games can be there. So you can find information in your textbook, especially from Penier, and you can also look at the book which I have used in at the end in the reference section. And so these things will be very helpful for you. So all of the activities, as I said earlier, it should be interesting. So sometimes it could be games, sometimes it could be problem solving strategies, and sometimes it could be simulation or role play materials. You will be given one particular role, maybe a president, maybe a celebrity, maybe a teacher, maybe a student, or any other thing. And whenever you are focusing on that role, and you will be delivering a speech on there. Sometimes I have seen my nephew who watches YouTube I mean, he watches YouTube to a particular channel which uh, uh, which shows different mysteries. Sometimes it is murder mysteries, sometimes it is stealing things, solving cases, and other things. So they give you one particular picture, one particular sequence, and then they will tell you what are the things happened, maybe some critical analysis period. So those things you can introduce and tell your learners to do so, and they can be very I mean, they will feel very interested to do that. So what are the materials you need? so you need those materials based on the activities I said earlier. So you need to have provide extensive reach and varied exposure to language in use. So all the materials should be like that one, and should effective and cognitive engagement to maximize the likelihood of intake. So that should be effective one, and the cognitive engagement should be there. Facilitate hypothesis forming, trialing, and revising. So you can do that, and provide opportunities to use the language for outcome oriented output. So whenever you are focusing on these things, definitely you should have one thing is in your mind that you are taking something out. So there should be a result whenever whatever you are going to teach them in your classes. And classroom applications. So, what are the classroom applications you can introduce? You can use the teaching strategies and useful languages for structured speaking. So, use authentic transcripts. Maybe like this one. Maybe any particular show. You can talk about any speeches. As I said earlier, that in a award show, you can find that teachers are sorry celebrities do these things. So you can take the script and use the transcription in there for teaching. Practice transcription and clean up hesitations. False starts could be there. Phrase strives to reinforce uses in conversation. And what are the useful languages for structured speaking? Is to what I mean is to begin with or finally. The point I am trying to make is, so this the important thing to grasp is that, so these are the uh, one of the ways to use your language for structured speaking. So some things you can use this, some you know pre prefixed sentences or phrases in order to give a booster for your speaking in a conversation or in a monologue or maybe in a dialogue. So this is one kind of oral fluency activities. This is one of the activities. You can find this information in Penny Ear's book in 1996. So what is the activity? Discuss the following conflicting options. Opinion one: children should be taught in heterogeneous classes. Setting them into ability grouping puts a failure level onto members of the lower groups, whereas putting more and less able to learners together encourages the slower ones to progress faster without penalizing the more able. So this is a I personally feel that this topic might not be interesting for the young learners. Maybe the adult learners who are interested in political and social segments, they might be interested in this kinds of information. But I personally found that for my honors level learners, that means tertiary level learners, I found that those young learners, they're interested on every time I got the responses whenever I give the topic is arranged marriage versus love marriage. So you need to be sometimes very creative. You need to include these types of topics, these kinds of situations in order to trigger you learners to speak in a class, to be very engaging there. So those things you can do that. And in activity 2, there should be argument on a good school teacher should have the following qualities. So what do you think? So that means there will be an argument. Some will find that these are absent in there, and some will find that these are absent in there. So that's how we will do that. Okay, just a second. আচ্ছা আমি ক্লাস শেষ করে আসছি ওকে okay then sorry for the interruption. That's my little girl. So these are the classroom activities you can follow. So you can see that there are two nice pictures in there. So what's your role? You want you learners to describe the picture. So maybe in a group you can separate different groups and you can tell them to describe it in the. So as you can find that there are so many materials in the pictures that one particular person can talk about. To maybe the actions, maybe their intentions. You can also talk about, so those classroom activities can be there under describing pictures. And you can also talk about the picture differences. You can see that the two pictures in here, but they are very much similar, but there are some points which are not similar. Let me show you the one. This is a this is a female figure or male figure, right? Right, and yes, and this is a different one. So maybe this is a female, maybe this is a male, so there are differences in here, and you can see something in here and there is nothing in here. And then the black shirt and then the white shirt, so these are the differences. So you can use this particular picture or these types of pictures to make your classroom more engaging and trigger them to speak in the classes. That's the end. We are at very end of this. Final thoughts. Learners are individuals, so definitely as they are individual learners, so you need to understand what are the level of your learners and how should you proceed. All the things you need to consider whenever you do these things. So that's the final thoughts in here. So that's all from here.